is couch to barbell 3B. It is a continuation rather than progression from couch to barbell 1. Ideally, you do these two programs alternate with each other, right? Alternating with each other. You will notice that it only includes 3 new movements, which are the last 3: the push, the squat, and the lift. The rest of it, the warm-up, is going to be doing basically one set of each of the first 2 movements that we did in couch to barbell 1, 2, and 3, and a couple of the easier hinge or lifting and squatting variations, and throwing them into and push-up variations as well, and basically making a warm-up out of it. This warm-up will be extremely specific to absolutely any barbell or strength training, most strength training workouts you would do, right? So it'll elevate your core temperature like warm-ups are supposed to do, right? But it'll also prepare your brain and your nervous system and your joints, your muscular system, of course. It'll prepare your body, whatever. Specifically for what we're doing, which is squatting and lifting and pushing, right? So that's what you want a warm-up to do. So here's what the warm-up will look like. I'm going to start with that because I think warm-ups are extremely important. So we need to look at what the warm-up will look like. So I'm going to actually move my camera down here because I'm going to be on the floor at the beginning. So again, first week, couch to barbell 1, we started with my rotational dead bug. I'm just going to go 1 or 2 reps of each. So it's going to be where I turn my arm in, this side rotates in, while the opposite hip rotates in. And then I switch. And then I'm going to look away. I'm going to look away from whatever side the shoulder is turning into. Right? I am working on an internal external rotation of the shoulders. I described it better in couch to barbell 1. So please go back and look at those videos. Second movement, we're going to do our hip crossover. Again, now we're turning the whole hip and still rotating the neck and rotating in the opposite shoulder, but the pelvis is moving in as a unit, developing rotation through the spine, particularly thoracic spine, rather than rotating through the hip socket. Third movement, we're going to go into a rotational sit up, and I'm going to drive this foot into the ground, create external rotation here, and come into a sit up. And then roll back down, and then do the opposite side. Rotational sit ups. Fourth movement, regular bridges. Feet flat, working on that weight distribution between the toes and the heels, working on moving the hips and the rib cage as a unit, really driving down into the ground with your arms as well. From there, we're going to go into a glute bridge march. We talked about this. You either lift the heel or the whole foot, depending on how stable you are and whether you can keep the opposite side from reacting, right? Little bit of lift of the heel, we have more feedback from that leg. If we put the heel down, if we lift the whole foot, we have less feedback from that leg, less support. So we have the other opposite side has to do more work. So, and these are all about 10 reps of each, guys. 10, 15 reps of each. Don't stress about exactly how many you do, okay? And if it's a left-right thing, you read that however you want. 5 per side, 10 per side, however. Then we're going to go into the bridge with the hands behind next to the ears. This will help you get ready for the front rack position that we've talked about. You know, where you clean the weight and hold it in that front rack position. And we'll talk about cleans and more in a little bit, although I made a whole video on cleans as well. So 3 rotations, 3 bridges. Now you move into your plank positions, right? First we're going to practice the plank from the quad position into a push-up plank position, knee push-up plank position. Do a few of those. Like this I'll probably do 15 to 20, whereas in the marches I'll probably do like 5 per side, right? Depends. Now, we're going to go into a knee plank from the out knee and elbow plank, where we're practicing driving into the floor through our forearms and our knees to not only create full protraction through our shoulders, but learn to use the abs to get us off the ground, not just the arms. Then, that's pretty much it for our floor movements, right? Then we're gonna go ahead and stand up and do our standing movements. The main two I want you to throw into the warm-up are the anterior reach. Before I show you how to do it with block knees, like a chair or something, blocking your knees so you wouldn't go like this. But you know, by now you should be getting it, right? If you're in level 3, you should be able to do it. So we're gonna practice hinging back as we reach forward, bending our knees just enough to keep weight on our toes, making sure our head and our hips move as a unit. So everything in between is stable, right? If this and this move together, that means everything in between is rather stable and in place, right? So we do a bunch of those. And then finally, we would do an assisted squat. Now, in the past, I demonstrated with my barbell, right? Because we have a barbell. That's what we're basing this program in. But my barbell right now is kind of loaded. So I'm going to use my little mace here. Don't need a mace, right? A barbell works. And the whole point of the assisted squat is you're pushing down on that barbell. You're holding that barbell, pushing down on it, and squatting with it. And again, what I want you to concentrate in is not only, it's not really only the depth, but it's the fact that you're pushing down on that stick or that barbell or that broomstick or a door handle, whatever, creating tension as you go down through your torso, through these lat muscles, the abs, creating tension. So it allows you to go be more stable and go down deeper into a squat. So once you've done, again, 10 to 15 reps of all of these, you should be ready to go. Should be ready to do some lifting. Now, here's the order I want you doing the exercises from now on. Again, suggested order. You do your own. I want the squat first. When we get to a load of things, right? Squat first, then the lift, then the push-up, right? And I would circuit through those, or you can do straight sets to finish all your sets of squats, or your sets of deadlifts, or your sets of push-ups. You can do that too. Really, you pick. Doesn't make in the grand scheme of things, over 10 years of time, does not make even a little bit of a difference. So you pick, whatever feels more comfortable. But here are the new exercises, right? So first, I have a whole video again on how to get weight to your shoulders. And we kind of talked about how to get weight to your shoulders with light weights when we talked about the front squat. But sometimes, we want to get stronger, we want to get heavier weights up to our shoulders, right? And I told you the front squats you could do in curl position, right? The front squats you could do in curl position. That'll work, right? Or you could do in clean rack position. And here's what the clean basically looks like. And again, I have a whole video on that. But you're basically using your hips, and you could do that with a curl as well. Right? You could use your hips to drive the weight up. It's way easier to do with a curl. But again, with how much weight you can hold here is severely limited, right? In comparison to how much weight you can hold if you put the bar on your shoulders. So to clean a weight up, you're gonna use your hips to drive the weight up. You're gonna wait for the moment where the weight basically floats. So the weight is pushing off your fingers and pushing into your hand. And then you're gonna roll it into you as it flies up and catch it on your shoulders. Again, there's a whole 15-minute video on how to do this. Hips back, hips up, catch it. And I have it on my shoulders, not my fingertips, okay? Shoulders. If it's on your fingertips, you're doing it wrong. And it's gonna hurt, it's gonna suck, don't do it. So, again, hips back, hips up. Now, we did front squats last time, that's not what we're doing now. The new one is gonna be a reverse lunge, which is basically, if you look at my lunge video, I really think it's a one leg squat. We're gonna be stepping back, but the weight's gonna stay, your center of gravity is gonna stay over your front foot. You're just stepping back to basically have a kickstand back there. But the weight is on that front foot the whole time. Right on the center, on the arch. Spread between your toes and your heel. Between the pinky toe and the big toe. Right? Not all on your heel. You're not trying to isolate anything. You're trying to balance your weight. And that back foot, you have to be really intentional with it. Because even though we're not pushing forward with it, as I discussed in my lunge video, you are catching yourself with that sucker. And if the toe's out, it's gonna bring that forward, that front knee in. It's gonna just collapse your whole thing, right? So you have to kind of search the ground with that pinky toe, especially. I like to use that pinky toe, search the ground with it to make sure that that's pointing forward and your hip is square. So this knee can stay over those toes, okay? And yes, when you can go past your toes, it will not blow up. It's fine. Just make sure it's pointing the same direction. So first movement is that reverse lunge, right? Doing the glute bridge march. Guess you're ready for that. Of course, all the squatting gets you ready for that too. But doing that glute bridge march gets you ready for that because it teaches you how to be in that split stance, right? Same split stance here. Glute bridge march, same stance. Now, second, you by this time, you have your hip hinge down, right? You've done hundreds of these by this time, I hope. And you've also learned how to do it with a loaded barbell. So you've at least a month, or at least a month really, of Quadruped one. Three. And you've been doing your loaded deadlifts. Actually, you were doing partial deadlifts in Quadruped too, so it's been months already, hopefully. So now you can, hopefully you can hold in this position. With a lot lighter weight, you can start working on rolling that weight into your body. Rolling that weight into your body. Now, look at the shoulder movement. It is the opposite movement of that push-up, right? It is with same movement, loaded in the opposite direction. So when I do a push-up, as I push away from the ground, my shoulders protract, go around my rib cage. As I come towards the ground, my shoulders go around my rib cage in the opposite direction and come back and around. They don't go up. They go back and around or forward and around, never up. That keeps my wrists and my elbows aligned, not chicken wing like this, keeps them in line. And that's basically the same exact thing I want to see in that row, right? I want to see that stable hinge position. The hinge doesn't move. The hinge doesn't move, and the shoulders go through the same range of motion that went in the push-up. Just the load is in the opposite direction, okay? So that's your second new strength training movement, right? You do your reverse lunges instead of squats. You do your rows instead of deadlifts. And finally, we're gonna switch the press, right? Instead of doing the simple push-up, we're gonna start working on the overhead press. And this is where I'll make a video in the future about how to progress push-ups and make them real hard. Couch to barbell ones, assuming you're not wonderful at push-ups. So a lot of you are gonna be still doing hands elevated push-ups or knee push-ups or whatever, right? If you're really, really good at push-ups and you can crank out sets of 10 easy, then we have to work on increasing the difficulty, which we'll work on in the future. But right now, might as well start working on your strength with the barbell, pushing it overhead. So here, just like in the push-up, we want to maintain that shoulder movement going forward and back and maintain that line so the elbow is always behind the wrist and the forearm, right? Here, we're going to make that vertical and get the elbow under the wrist. And now the shoulders are going to rotate out this way, the scapula, right? When I do this with my hands, my scapula is actually doing it at the same time. Instead of going around my rib cage, back and forth, it's gonna rotate this way. So the socket's gonna point to the ceiling as I press above my head, as I reach above my head, okay? Again, there's a whole video on this as well, just on that movement. Now, I'll do this kneeling so the camera can catch me better. So, to get it to your shoulders, you're probably gonna have to use that same clean motion, right? It's a hip hinge, drive the hips up, pull it up, and you don't have to catch it in your shoulders because you're gonna be pressing. You can catch it in your hands. It should be probably a whole lot lighter weight. And go ahead and kneel. This is also a good option, really. The kneeling press, it's a cool option. Elbows are under the weight. Doesn't have to be on your chest. The elbows have to be under. And then from there, you're gonna press the weight above the head, making sure it ends up above your head. So it's a slight curvature to the press. And as you come forward, it goes forward a little bit again. And I like to teach people to smell the bar on the way up and down. Smell the bar. Why? Because I want it close to your nose, basically. I want as close. If you push straight up, it's probably gonna hit your chin, right? So I want that head back, and I want that nose, that bar passing as close to your face as can, so it stays within your center, your line of gravity, right? So the weight stays over your feet. Because again, we're always thinking about how our feet interact with the ground. If the bar stays close to your face, you can keep the weight centered on your feet. On top, it should be right over your head, right? But as you come up and down, it might need to curve out a little bit, but keep it close to your face. And again, those elbows under the bar at all times. It is a standing plank. Just like the push-up is a horizontal plank, this is a standing plank. So your glutes and your abs are engaged just like in the push-up. So all those push-up variations that we did, all this stuff right here, right? That's preparing us for the press, right? Ab tight, glutes tight. That is preparing us, even pushing forward here, right? It helps us. That's the position where when I'm here, with the elbows pushing forward, that is the position where I start my press. All those movements that we're doing have been preparing us for this, right? We're pressing that bar overhead safely. If it hurts your shoulders at all, there could be a million reasons for that. Some thoracic mobility issues, which we have been working on the hip crossovers, and even that rocking motion. It could be a million things, whatever. Send me a question, send me a video. I mean, I can maybe look at you and see if I can spot it easily. Maybe not, but I can make some suggestions. So let me know if that press hurts at all. If anything hurts, really, let me know. You can ask me. It's not like I have millions of followers at this point. I have like 2. It's kind of sad. Anyhow, that is Couch to Barbell 3. I'll try to post a whole description that I'm posting on Instagram and YouTube this time as well. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Have a great day. Yeah.